What's up, y'all? Goofy Rexy here, and hope everybody is doing well. I wanted to talk about this really quick and kind of just put it out there and see what your guys' thoughts are. And I've been talking about this probably for the whole week now on Twitch. I talked about it in my weekly headliner video, and it's whether or not these month-long events are actually better, right? Because typically I have really strong opinions when things are happening in the moment, and then after some time, I do kind of typically tend to process things a little bit and see whether or not I need to amend the statement or maybe make some modifications to what my actual thoughts and feelings were initially. And the reason why I'm even talking about this is because earlier in the week, I made a video, and my headliner video, and I talked about this blog post here by Big Daddy Stone, and this was on Reddit. It says month-long milestones are better than Blitz releases. And my initial knee-jerk reaction to that was like, that is absolutely absurd that you would even think that way. But the quick TLDR on this was the fact that he was like, players are now able to get 3 stars on characters and 4 stars on characters by being able to do these month-long events. And, typically for a Blitz release, sometimes you may miss the milestones because you're kind of competing against these blind leaderboards. You don't necessarily know exactly what points you need to get to. You have to depend on predictions, and sometimes those predictions are off. So what exactly do you do? So his idea was that these month-long milestones are actually a little bit better when it comes to being able to get character shards for characters. And I want to say this, I do think that there definitely is a valid point to that. Yes, there are players who I think will benefit from the month-long milestones, players who cannot blitz as much, players who don't have wide enough rosters to blitz, players who just don't want to blitz because they don't like the game mode. So I do think that these month-long milestones actually do serve as a better opportunity for them to be able to get the shards that it is that they need, right? So I do want to give some sort of value to that and have an understanding there. But I do want to say this too, that to a certain extent, the month-long milestones, why they could benefit a good portion of the player base, I do think that it creates a little bit more pressure and potentially stress that it kind of puts on the player base. And the reason why I say that is you have these, if we're looking at this month-long event, right, you have the Summer of Thunder milestone. You have the breakdown here of these different milestones that you're going to need to do or participate in to get points for in order for you to be able to contribute to your the main milestone for the Summer of Thunder event here. So you got your 2 Alliance milestones, there are your 4 main milestones, and then you have your 5 Quick Rumble milestones, which equals a total of 11 milestones in total. Now, of course, 5 of these milestones are Quick Rumble blitzes. You could probably finish those in the first rotation by just using charges on the featured teams that are going to be there, or featured team or teams that are going to be there. So that's not really that big of a deal. But of course, I do want to also say that there are some players that probably won't have wide enough rosters to actually be able to do that. And then also blitz for the other character, or use other teams to climb through the blitz. So that may be a little bit of a challenge. Then you have these 2 Alliance milestones, which are usually fairly easy to complete. It's usually a coordinated assault milestone where you spend your ISO campaign energy, and then you're able to get some points there. And then of course we have this victory blueprint milestone, right, which usually gives you, even though that's not necessarily it's kind of sort of alliance-ish, right, where you get your T2 ISO level 4s, and you're able to get some points through that there. But the thing for me is the reason why I'm not a huge fan of the month-long milestones is probably some of the reasons why you guys are not fans of it, right? If we're taking a look at just one of the main milestones that they've talked about, which is the Solar Sizzler milestone, because we do have, of course, the 4 main milestones. You have the 2 Alliance milestones and the 5 Quick Rumble milestones. Let's just take a look at one of these milestones here, which is the Solar Sizzler event. So yes, it's saying that it's a main milestone, but if you actually go down and take a look at what the Solar Sizzler event is, it's not just one milestone, right? The Solar Sizzler event has a total of 1, the main Solar Sizzler milestone, then you have a 2nd Heat Storm milestone, then you have a 3rd Blazing Sun milestone, and then you have a 4th milestone, which is a web milestone, which is usually fairly easy to complete, the Too Hot to Handle web milestone. And the reason why I'm not a huge fan of these month-long events is that it's very it's confusing, right? A lot of the times, because it's like this milestone is then tied to that milestone, and then that milestone is tied to this milestone. So sometimes the calculations of exactly what you need in order to be able to get the points to actually complete said event, it's just way too taxing and way too confusing. And you're kind of just sitting here trying to figure out, okay, well, what the hell do I actually do? Another thing too that bothers me is that if you miss a day, like let's say that you miss a day of the event, prime example, now this is not necessarily exactly what may happen to you, but for me personally, this is what happened to me for the Rolling Rebel milestone, right? So I'm gonna miss this last milestone here, milestone number 40. And that's a big deal for me because it does have this fully crafted piece here, these 2 fully crafted pieces, this teal gear. Like, I'm gonna miss out on this. Now, the reason why I'm gonna miss out on this is because there were 2 weekends this month where I could not focus on milestones. I pretty much basically didn't really log into the game, other than just doing some of my raid attacks. That was pretty much basically it, just so that I didn't like screw up the Alliance from hitting their 60% on the Doom raids or the Gamma raids, of course, that we just had recently, or 100% on the Greek raids previously before that. That's essentially all I really did in Alliance war attacks, right, for that particular weekend. But I missed out on pretty much any activity that was going on for essentially 2 days, at least 4 days of this month, 2 days for that particular weekend. And it's like you have to log in and do everything at the time, or else you're gonna ultimately miss out on getting the disco balls. Another frustrating point too is that you have to grab these power core offers. And I've heard some people who are just like, dude, I would love if there was an announcement of sorts that would then say, okay, I can now log there. Here's the 1 power core offer, or the 1 power core offers are available in the store. And now you're given the opportunity to be able to kind of know, because not every player buys offers and will know when the 1 power core offer is going to be in the store. It's not as if though that's the featured offer that pops up all the time. Usually it's the limited offer, or it's an offer for character shards. That's usually what pops up. It's usually not the event offers for the 1 power core. So it's like, if you don't look at the store, if you aren't doing everything all the time when the time happens, and you ultimately will kind of sort of miss out on some of these milestones and could effectively sort of miss out your opportunity to be able to get a 4-star dazzler. Now, I was able to get a 4-star dazzler. I'm okay with that, but I'm missing this last milestone ultimately because I missed 2 weekends of doing activity. And to me, that just kind of ties back into the whole screen time aspect of things, right? Where now it's okay, massive screen time, so much to do. I'm required to log in, and some people might say, well, you got to play the game in order to be able to get the points. It's like, it's not that simple. You have to play the game in a specific way in order to be able to get enough points to be able to complete these milestones. Also, some of the math is off or not given up front. So then some people end up spending extra resources in order to be able to complete a milestone when they probably don't need to do so. So while I do think that to a certain extent, it definitely does help certain players to be able to get certain stars on characters that maybe potentially before they were not able to get, I do think that it does kind of create a little bit of an angst, frustration, stress, right? And then of course, players feeling actively like burnt out because of all the things that they have to log in and do and pay attention to, collecting energy at certain times just to make sure that you can use XYZ amount of energy towards an event like we have right now. We have blitzes that are going on where you have to blitz, you have to do war attacks in order to be able to get points towards a Solar Sizzler milestone. It is a little bit taxing in my personal opinion. So while the month-long events definitely do serve, I guess, a purpose in being able to get extra shards, it also is leading to a lot of burnout with screen time for a lot of players. And to a certain extent, it requires more perfection almost in order to be able to get through to get all the points necessary to be able to actually even get that 3 or 4-star character, depending on what you're shooting for. So those are my thoughts, guys. Curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are in regards to this. Obviously, not everything always applies to everybody all the time, right? So always curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are in regards to this as well. But listen, leave it in the comments. Always want to dialogue, always want to communicate with you guys. Let me know if I'm thinking kind of crazy. That's also okay too. I'm not right on everything. Neither do I try to be right on everything. I just try to share my opinion. So listen, appreciate you guys watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Check out the comments down below. Like I said, leave your comments, guys. Definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Hit the notification bell so that you know when the videos do go live. And until next time, guys, y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe. Bye.